Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, comrades of all kinds, thank you for joining me no matter where you're at cross country around this big, beautiful globe. And here we go again. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. This is a huge problem for people who are politically unmoored or a little bit listless or visionless. Visionless leaders. What happens when the leaders have no vision? The people shall perish. And who do we appeal to, ladies and gentlemen? Do we appeal to kings? Do we appeal to queens? Do we lobby the emperor and the oligarchs and these other clowns? No. We appeal to the broadest sections and deepest layers of humanity, the workers, tenants, and students. Broadest sections, deepest layers, or broadest layers and deepest sections, if you will. Right? That's who we appeal to. Our process is far superior to any of this crap. So I must ask you, Cenk Uygur, what the hell is the point? What the hell is the point in asking the country clubbers, in asking the Ivy Leaguers, in asking the elites in the establishment? Charlie Kirk is part of the establishment. Trump is the establishment. Okay, you don't get to be, the head of the Republican Party, a billionaire for time in memoriam, and not be part of the establishment. He's a silver spoon-fed trust fund chump, right? He doesn't scare the establishment. Why did they try so hard to get him reelected? Why did they try so hard to get him reelected if they're scared of him? It's because they love it. We've entered a new phase of class warfare where oligarchs are taking direct control in this space, and you're trying to appeal to them. That's nonsense. You know what you do to some fucking weasel like Elon Musk? You unionize Tesla, you unionize SpaceX, you unionize Twitter, and you do it internationally. You give that fucking clown nowhere to hide. That's what you do. And I'm telling you right now, our process is far superior to any of the alternatives. The unmoored and listless alternatives. And what is the process? I always mention the process, the program, the program. Well, the process gets the program, right? The score takes care of itself. But the process is arming, yes, that sort of arming, training, yes, that sort of training, educating, and organizing workers, tenants, and students internationally into labor, tenant, and student unions so they can form. It's got to be international. Just like oligarchs and capitalism works internationally, socialism has to work internationally. The workers have to work together internationally. You get them into those unions so that they can form like Voltron, the workers, labor unions, tenant unions, student unions, and then they move on institutions as they get critical mass. And in the meantime, since we don't have, let's say you don't have the institutions yet, so you don't get to put the programs into place yet. In the meantime, the labor unions are fighting for what? Higher wages, better benefits, improved conditions. The tenant unions are fighting for what? And they're supporting each other. The tenant unions and the student unions are helping the labor unions get that done. The tenant unions are focused on what? Lower rent, better benefits, and improved conditions. And the other two are helping them get that done. The student unions are focused on what? Lower tuition, better benefits, and improved conditions. And the other two are helping them get that done. And they're armed, and they're trained, and they're militant, but they're not militarized, right? Not everything is a nail. Sometimes you need a screwdriver. Sometimes you need the velvet glove. You get what I'm saying? Right? That's the process. The program is something that has to be implemented in every country too. You don't just do universal basic housing in the United States and say, hey, we're done. You see that? We're finished. The left has won. No, because wherever humans are is wherever the fight is. If they're on Mars, the fight is interplanetary. Right? If they're in another solar system, well, it's interstellar. If they're in another galaxy, it's intergalactic. You get what I'm saying? The battle is wherever workers, tenants, and students are. So you get into power and then you start to implement the program. What's the program? Oh, it's beautiful. It's such a wonderful thing. In the United States, we might call it the Prime Republic. Anyone else, they can call it whatever the hell they want. But it's housing the homeless with universal basic housing. Not building more affordable housing. No, universal basic housing. You get a voucher. Every fucking Social Security number gets a voucher. Everybody gets housing. If you had a tribe, okay, and somebody didn't have housing in the tribe, what would you think of the chief? You'd say, this guy's got to go. And anyone that gets in our way to stop us from making him go, they got to go too. So that's what you would do, right? Then you feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and help the needy with universal basic income, right? You employ the unemployed with a universal jobs guarantee. You insure the uninsured and treat the sick with universal health care. You educate the ignorant and willing with college tuition for all. And of course, look, you have childcare, pre-K. We already have elementary and middle and high school and all that stuff. You have paid family leave and all of these things. It's got to be done. That is what we have to do. Those are elements of the program. A living wage. If a job is required, think about it. If a job is required, it requires a living wage. It's no more complicated than that. Okay. You do all these things, and those constitute the program. But to get the program, you have to get involved in the process. And the process, ladies and gentlemen, will get the program. It is a scientific truth. It is the politically unstoppable force, the politically immovable object, the international working class united, armed, trained, educated, organized with an international socialist program. You ain't gonna beat that, buddy. Appealing to some trouser stain like Charlie Kirk in an empty suit. You ain't gonna beat it, buddy. That ain't gonna work. Let's just think about this for a second. Let's think about Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, MAGA, and all these other clowns and their followers. Let's go down the list of those programs. Which ones do they support? So do they support ending homelessness with UBH? Or do they talk about, oh, well, why are we letting refugees in the country when we have homeless veterans? And then you ask them, hey, well, do you support UBH? They say, no, that's communism. Okay, so strike one for Charlie Kirk and Cenk. Okay, joblessness. Do they support UJG, Universal Jobs Guarantee? No, of course not. Then they say no more immigrants. They're taking our jobs. That's their complaint. Not that we should. If you ask them, hey, should we have a universal jobs guarantee? They say, no, that's socialism. Yeah, that's not going to work for me there, brother. Appealing to those people, it don't work. It's a small layer of society. Why would you appeal to a small reactionary layer of society when you can appeal to the broad radical masses? The broad radical masses where all change throughout all of history in every revolution has come from. Every single one of them has come from the masses, ladies and gentlemen. These fantastic progressive changes, the 30s, the 60s, the 1860s, the freaking 1770s. Don't matter, buddy. You name the time, you name the era, you name the period. If it's getting done, it's because workers, tenants, and students did it. Not because some bloviating clown, Ivy Leaguer, what do we call them? Trust fund or a silver spoon fed. No, it's not because they feel like getting it done. They might see that energy and act as a conduit to it. But that energy has to be there first. That process has to be there first, or else you're hustling backwards. And everybody knows that ain't going to work out. You're going to end up like Suge Knight, hustling backwards. How about treating the sick? All those Christians. Heal the sick, treat the sick, but not with universal health care. Make sure to means test them so that we can have division. We can have people left behind. We can have resentment. It's baloney. Do they support college for all? How about BDS on Israel? No, of course not. What do they think of China? Well, they want to balkanize China. They want Hong Kong, Taiwan, Xinjiang, Tibet, Inner Mongolia to all be their own little statelets so they're easier to exploit. This is what these people want. Unions, labor, tenant, student unions, they don't vote that. How about automatic voting and popular voting? What are their criticisms of Trump? Have you ever heard them criticize Trump? Oh, he's just too passionate. Oh, he just has bad people around him. Motherfucker, he was molesting kids with Jeffrey Epstein for how long? And that is whose fault? It's his fault. Yeah, wishing Ghislaine Maxwell well, hiring people that got Jeffrey Epstein off on his sweetheart deals. We ain't playing with these people. Were in a cult. He had a fake charity that schemed and scammed kids with cancer. He had a fake university that targeted veterans and the elderly. This guy crashed the economy into a brick wall, okay? Fumbled the pandemic. Then poured gasoline on the fires because he wanted to attack the post office because too many mail-in ballots were Democrat. Before he lost to Joe Biden. Then he tried to overturn the election. What a bump, Cenk. You're wasting your time, man. Get back to focusing on workers, tenants, and students. Let's get them organized. Let's get them moving in the right direction. You got to convert retreat into advance. I'm going to leave it at that. You know what's up.